Yeah, Robin, thanks so much for joining me today on the Vantage Point Podcast. Yeah, first of all, how's things in Sweden?
Yeah, well, it's super rainy, to be honest, and it's kind of boring right now. Usually during the summer, it's usually pretty good. So if you're planning to come to Sweden, come like now or maybe in a week, then it would be nice. I promise you.
It's one of those places I see on the travel pages on Instagram. And it's like, oh, I'd love to go there one day. Is it as
Yeah,
nice as it seems?
I mean both yes and no. It's kind of expensive here, to be honest, but it's very nice to be here. It's We have a lot of different places you can go and a lot of nature you can visit. Um, so it's a pretty nice place during the summer. During the winter, it's just depression. So
Oh dear. Yeah,
yeah,
same here, really. Same here. We get
yeah,
about four decent weeks in summer, then the rest of the year, rest of the year, it's just
yeah,
depression.
yeah. I know the feeling.
Do you appreciate the local food?
Meatballs and mashed potatoes. That's what makes you look like Danny DeVito or some. No, man. But I mean, the cuisine is okay. I mean, we don't really have any national cuisine that's super special. I mean, you have Swedish food. It's mostly like fish and meat, but I usually like to eat other stuffs like pizza and pasta. And to be honest, most people here they're kind of the same. Because usually people don't go to Swedish restaurants here; they go to Italian restaurants. So yeah,
I think the most popular restaurants here are like Chinese restaurants and Indian takeaways. So
yeah,
I think we're in a similar boat. You've got a very good cooking page on Instagram where you share
thanks.
some of the things you conjure up. I don't know. Personally, I find preparing food to be such a chore and something I put off for as much as I can. I just find it laborious. I find it something like I have to do. I enjoy eating. I just don't enjoy all the prep that goes into that. So it's quite interesting to me to see how fun and how entertaining you make these little short videos on your social media. Yeah, where did this passion come from? Where did it all start?
I mean, it's not true. It didn't really start as a passion. The thing was that it was a kind of long time ago now. I was very overweight. Now I don't know what units you use in UK or what your viewers are using, but there was a point where I weighed at 110 kilograms, and
Right.
for like I was probably like 16 years old. That's a lot for that age. And it became a problem after a point. So I was sitting and thinking like, okay, I need to lose weight now. Like I don't have any other choice because I was starting to getting injuries on my body. But at the same time, like eating fish and just chicken breast and nothing fun. I mean, I don't really want to do that either because I've always loved to eat stuff, and I guess most people are like that as well. So I just started, to experiment with different recipes. Something that I started doing very quickly that's kind of benefited me today is reading the labels of the food I buy, because that's not something that a lot of people want to do. But I actually read everything that I buy, so I know exactly what I eat on a daily basis.
What do you notice are some of the things that they try to sneak in food that maybe I don't know, preservatives? What kind of stuff do you look out for?
I mean, it's usually like sugars, because here was also
Right.
something that sugar was like I had a really bad relationship with sugar a few years ago. Like I eat sweets all the time. I didn't even drink Coca-Cola Zero. I drank the normal that is super high in calories. Um,
Hmm.
and the thing is that I noticed after my transformation that my craving for sugars actually disappeared. So I was like, okay, why did my cravings for sugar disappear? Probably because I just stopped eating it. And I was very
Right.
conscious about like, for example, let's say I buy bread. Um, I always try to make sure that the bread I'm buying doesn't have that much sugar. And I think that with this mindset, it kind of compounds in your everyday life. So let's say that you might buy a bread with 5 grams of less sugar, and let's say you eat that bread, I don't know, 3 or 4 times a day. That's like 3 or 4 sugar
Adds up.
cubes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you cannot do that with everything that you're eating. It kind of adds up to a large amount. I think that
Yeah.
sugar is probably the most dangerous food that we eat every day. And that's also something that you don't know how dangerous it is until you stop consuming it.
You definitely see it snuck in everywhere. Same with sodium as well. That's something that seems to
Yeah.
be all over the place in stuff you just wouldn't expect that you'd even need it in. What point was it in then in your life? So you said you were 16, right, when you were 110 kg.
Yeah.
How soon after that was it that you sort of clocked on that maybe you weren't feeling your best? And at what point did you start to make changes? And how did you break that cycle? How did you gradually start? Was it gradual, or did you really restrict yourself at first?
Yeah, so the thing is that in Sweden, our school system is kind of different. So what happens is that I think up until we are 15 or 16, I don't really remember now because it was, I think, 10 years ago I was at that stage. But what happens is at that age, we actually change school from something called from high school to gymnasium. It's I don't really know what the English equivalence is.
I think probably college for us. I
Yeah,
thought when
yeah,
you're
maybe.
16, yeah.
Yeah. And what happens is then that you completely change your life because the people that you went to school with before, you will most likely not meet them again because you start
Right.
hanging out with other people. But the thing was that when I switched school, I kind of sat there and think, okay, I want to become another person, because when I grew up, I didn't grow up in this Sweden is very known for being political correct country. We don't bully, we don't do that. Respect everyone, etc. But I would say I actually had the privilege of not being in that environment, because when I was young, people used to make fun of me for being fat, and that was actually probably the best thing that could happen to me
Right.
because that motivated me to change. So when I switched school, I decided, okay, look, people have been calling me fat for some time now, so I'm gonna make sure they can't do it, and that motivated me to just change.
Yeah. Wow.
So I just went ahead and do it and did it. So and I always kept that in mind that one day I'm gonna look in a way where people won't even notice me. And the thing is also that when you lose 20 kilo or 10 kilos, let's say even 8 kilos, you start seeing difference in your body. And people see that difference very quickly. But what happened was that I'd lost so much weight that when I met people from my old school, they wouldn't even know who I was. And that really motivated me
Right.
to, keep going. The small wins that you get, the small confirmations that you get, oh, you're losing weight, they really help you to keep going. But
Yeah.
it's also important that you shouldn't lose weight in order to, gain confirmation or validation from other people. I did it for myself. As I said before, I started getting injuries, and that is actually the main reason. But of course, I would be lying if I told you that people saying, "Oh, you're looking so good and you're becoming so small," like that helps, of course.
Can't hurt.
Uh, yeah, exactly. So I mean, it's the small wins really stack up, and that helps you keep going. And it was totally worth it. Um, but yeah,
I can imagine.
I
Yeah.
would say, yeah, I would say the upbringing part is probably the most important one because without people calling me fat, I wouldn't even think about it.
Right. That's interesting because, some people, I suppose, would react quite differently to that. But you've used that almost probably what was quite a traumatic upbringing, maybe in a way, in that way, where it felt like maybe everyone was being quite negative towards you because of your weight. And that's sort of stuck in the back of your mind, and you're able to use that and turn it into a positive motivation. I'm curious then what your opinion is on, there's a lot of talk at the moment. Well, not even at the moment. This has been going on for like the last sort of five,
Yeah,
10 years or so. But when you hear about sort of fat positivity and body image acceptance and all this kind of stuff, obviously, just before I get quoted
mm,
and misquoted here,
yeah,
I think it's great to be happy in your body and to love your body, all this kind of stuff. But when it gets to the point of like perhaps where you were, where you're causing yourself health concerns by just simply eating too much and not moving enough, What are your thoughts on that? Do you think it's quite damaging? The amount of people are just willing to accept it now, if you see what I mean.
Mm. No, I totally get what you mean. And the thing is that I'm like, when I talk with my friends, they might think that, oh, it's, you have this kind of like, you think you have to be some sort of person, but I don't actually believe that. You should always love yourself. And you should, the reason why you should lose weight is not because of visual appearance, it's usually more because of health reasons. As you said, and as I said, it was more of a health concern. And if we actually look at my content that I put on Instagram, it's actually pandering towards those people. Why? Well, I make cookies, I make cakes, I eat pasta, I eat pizza, I eat burgers. These are the things that fat people typically eat. It's just that, I don't eat it with 3 tons of oil. So that's kind of the difference. But I think actually it's really sad that people are kind of encouraging others to, not becoming fat, but staying fat. We should encourage each other to learn culinary skills, like basic things, like how to add taste to your food so it tastes better, how you can optimize calories instead. Because encouraging each other to stay fat, it doesn't help anyone. It would probably be better for the world in total if everyone was healthy. But some people seem to think that's kind of weird to think, so.
Yeah, what it is, I think, is people let it get to a point where they're like, right, there's nothing I can do about this, so I'm going to make it a part of my identity and just change the way other people treat me. And it might give you some sort of validation in the short term, but long term, at some point you need a reality check, and it's not for really other people to even. Maybe it's not for other people to do, but it shouldn't be something that you end up being complacent with. It should be something you're kind of looking to work on, maybe in yourself. And when you get that complacent that you're demanding everyone else say how beautiful you are, this, that, or whatever, it's like that's not, it's kind of missing the point, in my opinion.
Yeah, I remember that the biggest benefits that I saw from losing weight, it was, my life became so much easier. I remember having problem finding t-shirts because I was so fat, because there aren't that many t-shirts that fits an overweight 16-year-old boy that weighs 110 kilograms and makes you look good as well. So
Right.
finding stuff like clothes, I don't know, buying bikes, it became so much easier. This simple stuff became so much easier when I lost weight. It's kind of sad to see people giving up like that, because it really makes your life easier. And that's also why, like, I have my content the way I do have it. Everything I make, not everything exactly, but I try to make it in a way that it's easy to eat. Like, you can eat a lot of it without gaining weight. Of course, like, there's a limit. There's a limit to everything. But being able to eat a lot of protein pudding is better than being able to eat a small piece of cake. So that's kind of the point of my video clips.
We talked about sort of being overweight, but some people obviously the other way, and they have a very bad relationship with food. Maybe they're trying to excessively limit themselves, so maybe they don't have the knowledge you have of how to make a healthy protein snack. So they'll be like, I'm eating too much cake, I'm going to limit myself and not let myself eat any cake. And then they'll manage that for a few days, then they'll binge the next day, and they'll feel terrible about themselves, and then they'll try and seriously limit their intake again for the next few days, and they get all sorts of overthinking going on in their head, and it leads to eating disorders and all this sort of thing. How important is it, do you think, for people to make themselves knowledgeable of what's in their food and build a good relationship with food?
Yeah, if we're gonna give a reality check to everyone, in my opinion, in the perfect world, everyone should have like extraordinary culinary skills. That would be super perfect for everyone, because then everyone would make healthy food that tastes good, that meets the calories that you need. Everyone knows how to lose weight, gain weight, just or maybe stay in your weight range. But unfortunately, the reality says that, we can't really do that. But if you're gonna like give a rule of thumb, balance is kind of the key, because the thing is that today, like I've lost so much weight that I don't really think that I should lose anymore. But at the same time, I kind of really don't want to, gain a lot of weight either. I'm kind of at that stage right now. And I also have a pretty big social life. So, stuff like drinking alcohol and, eating shitty food. I
I got to
still
leave
want to
room for
have
that.
that.
Yeah.
Pardon?
I said you've got to leave room for that.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is that a lot of people kind of associate losing weight with, restricting that food. I'm the completely opposite. I'm telling you, you can drink if you want to. Of course, I'm not recommending it. You should stay away from it as much as possible. But if you want to do it, it's not forbidden. Eating pizza, pasta, and shitty food, that's also you shouldn't throw that away. But the thing is that you can't eat a pizza and then eat a pizza again. So the key is kind of like, if you're having a pizza for lunch, you're having salad for dinner. And you have to make that compromise. And where people fail mostly is that they have like this pizza, Coke, fries for lunch. And then for dinner, they have that salad. But the thing is that after they've had that salad, they usually say stuff like, "Oh, this salad didn't do it what it was supposed to do. I'm still hungry. It didn't taste that good, so I'm gonna go and have a sandwich with 600 calories with meat, mayo, etc." And that's kind of where people fail mostly. In my opinion, it would be better to make your own pizza with breads that have lower calories, sauces that you can control, stuff that you use to make your foods at home, because that would give you the opportunity to kind of lower the calories. So instead of having one pizza and a bunch of fries and other stuff and a salad, you can have pizza for lunch and dinner. Right. And that would actually, make you more successful in losing weight or gaining weight, but having that balance will help you a lot more than doing an extreme one way or the other.
Yeah, that's the key word, isn't it? Balance. I think that's what everyone struggles with in one way or another.
Yeah.
I was wondering, when you did, or perhaps even still now, but when you did your initial weight loss, did you do any kind of training in the gym at the same time? And do you currently do any kind of training?
I haven't been consistent on that part, and that's why I'm not posting so much gym stuff. But my goal is to kind of start doing that in the future, because I'm starting doing a lot of calisthenics. So it's a lot of dips, dips, pull-ups, I don't know, deadlifts too, maybe rope hanging. My goal is to kind of start doing that type of content in the future, not now, because again, I'm not consistent in it, and I kind of want to be consistent, because that for the gym part, it's very important to be consistent. I would say probably every day, because if you're gonna lose weight, then you don't really need a gym. It's usually for gaining weight you need a gym more. So yeah, I'm planning on starting to do that more in the future, but not now.
Okay, well, when you've done like bits of exercise, then like, do you feel like you're more powerful, you have more energy when you've fueled your body in the right way, as opposed to eating a load of rubbish the day before? Because a lot of people, they'll try and do a super strict diet, and then they'll smash the gym and wonder why they're feeling flat. They're not feeling as high energy as they should. And I think a lot of people are missing the point there again, where it's like, food is our fuel. We need food to fuel our workouts, to fuel just sports and everything we do.
When people say stuff like, "Oh, gym is super important, I can eat whatever I want," I usually like to refer to a runner's body, because if you look at runners, like they don't have bodies that you want to have, and the reason is like, they don't have the types of diets that you should have if you want to get the body that you want to have. So I'd say, like, if you want to combine gym, let's say you want to become jacked, muscular, six-pack guy or girl, and you want to have a lot of muscles, then it's important to stay focused on the proteins, before and after the gym. The carbs are also important, but the proteins are the most important part. Because a lot of studies has actually shown that protein actually keeps you fueled longer. And that's also something that everyone can try. Let's say you're a typical 9 to 5 guy, like most people are. Try having a carnivore breakfast and lunch, and you'll see that it will really help to fill up your stomach much longer. I'm currently doing that right now during the summer because I'm usually studying during the semesters, but now during the summer I'm working. So I've kind of adapted this carnivore diet in order to help it make it easier. You sit at the computer all day, and it's kind of hard to focus. You become tired so easily. The carnivore diet actually helps a lot. So people should try it because it's a secret ingredients to help you achieve your goals.
That's probably got something to do with it. I think proteins, they take longer to break down, don't they? Whereas
Yeah.
Carbs or even fats, if you're doing some sort of keto-based diet or something like that. But most people, for most people, carbs will be their sort of go-to energy source because they get essentially into your blood faster and you can burn it as energy. And then I think that getting your protein is always great, especially if you're looking to put on muscle, because that's what's going to rebuild and repair your muscles after you've gone through a tough workout. And without the protein, no matter how hard you've worked, your muscle's not going to grow any bigger if you're not giving it what it needs to grow bigger, so it doesn't matter how much you push yourself. Talk to me about macros then. Could you just break down like some of the importance of getting fats, carbs, and proteins in your diet?
If you're the type of person that doesn't like to count macros, focus at least on proteins and fats, because that's where the biggest effect will happen. And for most people, I say eating around 200 grams of protein per day, whenever you're trying to gain weight or lose weight, is probably the best part. Because at the end of the day, let's say you want to lose weight. You obviously want to lose fat. You don't want to lose your muscles. They keep you strong, they keep you healthy, good looking. And the same thing goes for gaining weight. You want to gain muscles and not a lot of fat. So the protein part is probably the most important one. And the reason why fats are also important, it's because it helps you with the parts that protein does, building muscles, losing fat. But I'd say that when it comes to consuming fat, people should be very individual about it, because we all have very different bodies, and our bodies can use fat in different ways. Some people have a very easy time gaining weight, so that's why they need to consume very little fat every day. On the other hand, you have those that they could eat a lot and not gain any weight at all. They can eat a little bit more fat. So that part you should do your research by yourself. And the carbs part, I don't think that's super important to track, as long as you don't eat a lot of carbs during the day. I personally, I only eat fast carbs once per day, and that's during the evening. So that works for me. If you want the rule of thumb, that's the best thing you can do.
Yeah, I think the key there is listen to your body, isn't it? Try different stuff, see what works. And I think carbs are probably the easiest to sort of accidentally be consuming all the time anyway, aren't they? So it's probably the one you got to watch less, or you don't have to watch as much. I was curious on your thoughts on when you see these like meal replacement shakes and like diet shakes, like skip a meal every day for a week and drink some shake of different stuff. What do you think about this kind of thing? Do you think it's any good? Do you think people should avoid this kind of stuff?
It's kind of funny because I saw some guy at work that like he had this. I think it's called Huel. I don't know. Do you know what it is?
Yeah, I've heard of that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I see him eating it every day, and he actually has a runner's body, and that's like all he eats. Don't eat that, okay? Don't have any form of meal replacement or anything. And this refers to back to what I said before. Meal replacements usually has a lot of sugars, which we have to avoid. So how it works is that they give you these meal replacements and they tell you, oh, it works instead of lunch, breakfast, or whatever. But this meal replacement, they taste so good that you want to have more of it. The issue is, if you would take out all the components of these meal replacements, let's say you have like I don't know, pasta carbonara meal replacement or whatever. If you would take out all these components of these meal replacements, put them aside and just eat them one by one, they wouldn't taste that good. They taste good because they kind of combine it, put in sugar and other stuff that makes you want it more. Any form of meal replacement, pre-cooked food, pre-cooked pizza, pre-cooked whatever, it doesn't matter what it is. All of those are bad. You should stay away from it as much as possible. You should use fresh ingredients only. That's key, and it tastes so much better too.
I need you around my house sometime.
Yeah.
Come move in with me for like a couple months or something.
Yeah. I'll come and make you some Italian food too, man.
Oh, it sounds good. It sounds good.
Something that baffles a lot of people's minds is how these vegan meats, they taste very good. And I tried it once too, and I was like how this tastes so good. I mean, I should only buy this. But when I looked at the ingredients, it actually had, I think, 8 grams of sugar per 100 grams of the material. I was like, why does it have sugar? It's supposed to be only veggies. But it isn't, it's soya, I don't know, veggies and a lot of sugar. So for those watching this, what?
And that's why it tastes good, because of the extra stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they're adding veggies with sugar, which makes it taste super good, but it's not good for you. It will give you that runner's body that I was talking about. It's not a nice body to have. I can promise you that. I mean, I'd rather look like Prime Schwarzenegger than any runner today. It's.
What do you get then out of sharing these recipes with people? You put so much energy into like producing these videos so consistently. Like, what do you get out of it?
I mean, honestly, like nothing. I mean, nothing tangible. I mean, I think it's sometimes I get messages from people that say that, oh, you have some nice recipes. I've tried this and it tastes so good, and that makes me very happy because even though I didn't personally gain anything, it still means that someone has made a change to their life that would benefit them. And because the thing is that my recipes, they're kind of pandered to the people that struggles to make these changes in their life. Because these foods that I make, they are made in a way to taste good, but at the same time keeping your macros. And it can be very hard to kind of experiment sometimes, because at the end of the day, healthy food doesn't taste good. It's as simple as that. One tomato or a large lettuce head, it doesn't taste good. Doesn't matter, what we do, sugar and poison or whatever. It tastes so good, but we can't have
Poison.
it. So yeah, I call they put all sort of shit in this good tasting food, but we shouldn't have it still. So I mean, it's kind of more like a personal thing. It kind of, for me, it's more like, I know I've changed someone's life. And that's awesome. Probably, I mean, it's the best thing ever when my friends, they sometimes ask me, oh, do you have a great recipe for this and that? And I know some of my friends, they're starting to adapting breakfast recipes that I've given them. And it has helped them and they are really happy for it. So, I mean, that's nice. But other than that, I'm not gaining anything, it's just for fun.
Is there one food, or if there is one food, perhaps one that you eat every single day? What is something that perhaps people should eat every single day if they're not eating it already?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Is there one?
There isn't any actually, and the reason is that eating the same food every day will, you will become tired of eating that food. So I actually have an active plan of eating different foods every day. But something that I've consistently kept like every single day is probably coffee. And that also helps with appetite.
Same here.
Yeah.
At least we've got one dietary thing in common. Oh well, Robin, it's been a pleasure. Thanks so much for coming on the Vantage Point podcast. That's all we've got time for. Thanks so much for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.